So when we do our PV site assessment, what we need to do is use the National Renewable Energy Lab's Pvwatts Calculator to determine the amount of DC and AC energy that's going to be available from the site. So in section 5 of this site assessment, we're going to look at a 1 kilowatt system, and we're going to base all of our values on that 1 kilowatt system. Now, the location may have a greater amount of energy usage, but we are going to reference everything to 1 kilowatt, kind of get a mental image of what 1 kilowatt is. That's kind of the backbone for what we're going to do. So on the screen here you can see Pvwatts Calculator. So the location that we are talking about here is 61776. That's the location for the site. We're going to hit go, and it's going to immediately start the process of doing this. So this will be a quick overview, and we recommend that they use this data. Now you can hit change, and you can find maybe the regional airport. At this point, there's really not a lot of difference between, say, in our case, Illinois at Peoria or Central Illinois. So I'm going to leave it in Peoria. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go to the next page. Now this is system information. We're going to want a size for a 1 kilowatt system. That's what our site report wants us to do, is base it upon a 1 kilowatt system. Based upon where you believe the system should be installed at will determine the best fit for this. Is it going to be a ground mount? If it's a ground mount, then you could put an open rack. Is it a roof mount? You can leave it as a roof mount. Is it a tracking axis? So we're going to leave it as a roof mount, for example, in this case. Our D rate, as we've mentioned before, is going to have a 0.8%. You know what? I think what I'll do is leave it that 0.8% and the tilt angle. Now notice that the tilt angle is going to be 22 degrees. That is because it's going to be on the roof and it's going to face east, which is 90 degrees there. So that's what I am going to look at. So those are the criteria that I need to know for Pvwatts. In a previous video, I had left the array type as a open rack, and what will happen here, and I'm not trying to confuse you, but when we look at the difference between open and roof mount, is that the production of a roof mount will be slightly less due to the heating effect. As a site assessment, what we're really interested in is at this 1 kilowatt system, what do we have going on? Let's enter in these other variables that we know, and we're going to try to set this up. And I think in Central Illinois we're looking at a $4.25 install cost, and we're going to say it's based upon the solar energy rebate. It's not available to us, so let's leave that out. So we're going to do with the federal tax credit and the solar rebate program. We're going to hit go. And this data right here in this table is going to be what we need to produce and show on the next coming table in the section 5 of the solar site assessment. So the solar site assessment requires us to build upon the 1 kilowatt system. So I would do a screen capture, copy and paste this data into there, and that is what we now know what our total solar radiation is based upon these findings that we have here.